Hello ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing well. Over the past few weeks, a lot of information for the new Dying Light game has been revealed, mainly coming from people who got to attend an event in Poland, watch a 40-minute gameplay demo, and ask some juicy questions. I've already talked about the whole demo in the past, but there were a few other interesting details that weren't mentioned at the time, and a whole lot more that's been confirmed even more recently. So on this channel, I try not to waste your time and babble off and talk nonsense. I like to get right to that point, so let's continue that trend and do the same here. To start off, Dying Light the Beast is more of a one-and-done type of game instead of something that'll get continuous support after it comes out. As after the Beast ships, they'll go back to working on Dying Light 2 and making that their main focus. Bringing out mod support, working on new events, and so on. We don't really know what their grand plan really is. From Gamer Mom, a veteran in the Dying Light community, we have learned the demo mission is the third or fourth mission in the story. Plus, we heard from one of the Techland moderators that if they decide to release the demo to the public, it probably won't be until late 2024 or early 2025. Right now, it's at the stage where they're getting feedback and making small adjustments, so they're probably not completely ready to show it off to the public just yet. And let's try not to pester them about it so we don't recreate the launch of Dying Light 2, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. One really interesting detail is 98% of buildings are enterable, with them being completely handcrafted along with the rest of Castor Woods. So don't expect there to be a ton of repeated buildings like what we got in Dying Light 2. Every house looks to have a different style, so I'm really glad they took in that feedback. As many of you may have noticed before, Kyle still has his original watch from the first game, meaning yes, that nostalgic beeping when it turns night is making a return. The new nights in general won't be like how they were in the first Dying Light, where it felt like a straight up horror game at certain points, but the intent is to clearly make them darker without scaring the player into trying to sleep through the night. Moving on, it has been stated with Crane coming back there will be other familiar characters making a return too, but of course they did not really state who to not spoil the surprise. But it could be characters from Dying Light 2, Dying Light 1, we'll see eventually, but I do think regardless, Aiden and Spike are both going to come back in some sort of way. One of the things many people have been wondering about is how we can customize the new cars in Dying Light the Beast, since in the original the buggies could be heavily customized. You could put a UV light, spikes, a flamethrower, it could get pretty crazy. But I'm sorry to say folks, you can't customize the new cars. It also sounds like they won't be able to go that fast either, and if we're basing it off the trailer, then yeah, they go pretty damn slow. It was said recently that in the demo you could find stunt jumps and ramps to hit with the cars, so that's always fun. The following in the first game always had some really unique ramp spots, so I'm excited to see what they do here. Now as for the cars being third person only, I think Techland knows people aren't too keen on the idea, so I really do think they'll work on an option eventually. Or the modders will just do it, I don't know man. Feels like a really big oversight from Techland though. The grapple hook was briefly shown in the demo, but it did just look how it did in Dying Light 2. I know a ton of people wanted the straight shot hook from the first game to come back, and well, you're shit out of luck. Of course, everything is still subject to change though, so we'll see. Alright, this one might actually upset some people, as Techland did say there will be no new parkour skills or animations, which actually really caught me off guard, I'm gonna be honest. I really thought they would try to make Rain feel a little bit unique, so I'm actually really surprised, and I hope they reconsider. I could ramble on and go into a million reasons why I think this is so important, but the main one you need to know from me is that I just think Aiden and Kyle should feel different. It's as simple as that. I do think this is why Techland hasn't released the extended gameplay to the public, because knowing the community, we nitpick a lot. So I get it, they want to make sure everything's looking good for the public, make sure the grenade launcher actually has a texture this time, make sure there's not too many bugs being shown, I get it. Seriously though, how did they let that grenade launcher picture sneak through to the Steam store page? Come on. Anyways, back to it. In the demo, at one moment you get to fight a charger, so it's confirmed they're back too. I'd assume all these special infected from Dying Light 2 are going to be back, so if you weren't exactly sure, well, there's even more confirmation. Towards the end of the demo, we see a transition to a third-person story cutscene, which I heard was made just for the demo. But don't be too surprised if we do see more of it in the story. I can understand why some people don't like anything outside of a first-person perspective for immersion reasons, but my channel name is BackBoardFilms, alright? I like when things experiment with a good old cinematic perspective. I think it's fun. Dying Light 2 and Dead Island 2 both randomly started experimenting with these movie-like scenes, and so I just really like that stuff, and I kinda hope they do it more. If anything, I'm just glad Techland is experimenting with new ways of storytelling. So, in Dying Light the Beast, Crane overall feels darker and more mature, meaning a lot of his original charm isn't there like it used to be. This was actually a big worry for a few of the people who saw the demo, but Techland did release a dev diary recently, where they did say their original takes for Kyle when recording for the game were more like Dying Light 1 with that sarcastic good guy attitude, but Roger Craig Smith felt something was off. So he changed the tone to fit the darker atmosphere and reflect everything Kyle went through. But he did say to not worry, as he hasn't let the younger Kyle disappear completely, and he went on to say he's found ways to mix of sarcasm and irony into the Beast's dialogue. So hopefully they're able to find the right balance. I do think it's worth mentioning that in the official Dying Light timeline Techland posted, there is no Dying Light bad blood, and I can't say I'm too surprised. Techland has really tried to ignore its existence. It's really fun with a couple friends, and the overgrown version of Haran is just really cool to see. There are a few other tidbits of info, like the zombie AI will be improved, and hopefully humans too. As you can expect, there will be multiple safe houses to find, fine with the overall style actually being more like the first game than the second. Instead of there being mostly Night Runner camps, we'll actually have our own rooms and houses to ourselves. So one of the new things confirmed is Cal Crane's gonna get his own beast skill tree, but we don't really know how we're gonna be able to level that up and progress. They did say there would be a new progression mechanic, so some are thinking that we'll inject ourselves with the blood from the freaks of nature. As in the demo, we do see Cal use an inhibitor to inject something from them, so lots of mysteries going on, so hopefully we'll get some answers soon through some new gameplay, and if not, well, it is what it is. Anyways, if you enjoyed, then please feel free to like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed, and let me know what you think about everything we talked about down below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stop by next time. Adios.